in a moment or two is going to be very pink on your screens. So please give a very warm welcome to Rupert Barksfield, who's the CEO of Pynk. They are the last year's winners of the Great Pitch contest at Wolf Summit. Rupert has a lot of things to say about their success story. So please tune in to his really, really interesting presentation and see you soon.
Well, good morning, everybody. I guess it's a little difficult to be up on, I suppose, the fake stage. It's very difficult for me to communicate with you guys because I actually can't see any questions right now. I can see the time up in the top right hand corner of my screen. So if you have any questions about the content I'm talking about today, please hold it to the end. I'll turn off this presentation screen and then I can talk on the main chat. But I guess, look, the reason why we're here today is because we won. We won at Wolf Summit last March. And so the title of this presentation is supposed to be the Pynk success story. But those of you who might be a little bit more, I suppose, eagle-eyed, you might have noticed that there's a question mark in there. And well, there's a very good reason for that. When I sort of started thinking about this presentation and started writing it, or at least writing it in my head, there was not the scenario that we're in right now. The world is, of course, a very, very different place. And so the question mark is not just required for us, but it's actually required for all startups. Is there a success story right now? Because we really do have the hardest time than ever before on our hands, not just in the way that we live with COVID as it is right now, but this has kicked off the largest recession that what we think right now is that we've ever seen, and that's pretty unprecedented, and we really don't know the impact overall. We don't know how long COVID's going to be going on to, and there's going to be a lot of unknowns as we go forward. So rather than talking about a Pynk success story, I have questioned it, because startups now have to survive. We have to react quickly. We have to do that in order to get through the world's largest economic turndown. Now, they're calling this a black swan event, and frankly, I suppose I don't really care what it's called, because what's important for me right now, what's important for our company right now, is this survival point. Now, if we can survive through this recession, then we can go on to the ranks of some of the largest companies in the world. Yeah, if you look at the last recession as an example, some of the best companies and the biggest companies with the highest valuations were formed in 2008, 2009. But hold on a second, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'd like to just kind of roll back and talk about how we've got to this point, and I suppose provide some tips for other startups as to how they can help survive, and some of the things that we're employing right now to get through the next 3 months, the next 6 months, and then beyond into the next 4 or 5 years. So first of all, why am I here? Well, at the dawn of the internet, I kind of started out by importing cigarettes and selling them to my school friends. I then went on to rock and roll, which then led me to my first kind of foray into events, where I was given my first tiny client. At the time, it was called Android. You may have heard of it. And that got me into digital and building out digital. I then bumped around for a few years in events technology, and eventually created my first agency and an ad tech product, which I then exited out in 2017. And then in 2018, I've met my now co-founders of Pynk, and kind of the rest is history. And there's a bit of a go over what Pynk is and what we are trying to do for the world. We are a zero fee portfolio manager. The way in which that works is we have thousands of users around the world that predict on how financial assets are going to move. That feeds our AI as to who to agree with and who not. And then this data adjusts our portfolio for the better of everybody in the whole community. And we know that this works because, unfortunately for us, or fortunately, we actually predicted this. We saw the coronavirus having a massive impact on the markets. Our crowd forecasted this, and we traded off the back of it. You know, make hay while the sun shines. A lot of people say it's, you know, it's going to be a lot longer than just these last few weeks, but at least it validates our system. And that was a good thing for us. If you want to learn more about that, check out medium.com/Pynk. That's our blog, and we've got a whole big article about that. Now, what's important about my journey and the team at Pynk is that we've seen several recessions. And whilst this is a big one, there are some easy things that you can do to help with getting on with your survival. So I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of phases of startup and how that relates into the recession. And for the absence of doubt, this deck was created very short time ago, and I didn't get into putting a lot of pictures into the next few slides. So you're just going to have to focus on me for a second in order to get some of the content. But if we look at idea phase as an initial start to any startup, if you are watching this today and you've got an idea for a startup, you're in quite a good job, and perhaps that job is going to survive through this recession, honestly, stay there. Don't get out of a job right now and get into a startup. Starting at idea phase at this moment, unless it is a truly game-changing piece of technology that's going to help a world problem, like a new battery to help Tesla cars, or a way to reduce plastic and turn that into food, or some other magical, wonderful idea that a load of startups and only startup founders will have, then stay in your job. If you're thinking about doing an app that's going to help people date better, stay in your job. There are plenty of those out there, and you are going to be hit down in the funding turndown. And that is advice that probably a lot of other people won't tell you. A lot of people will say, follow your dreams. Honestly, at this stage, the time is to hunker down and keep in that role. And I can't stress that enough. That being said, if you're already into a startup phase, and perhaps you raised last year, and perhaps you raised this year, or perhaps you're even mid-raise, close now. You have to close that round. You need to get that money in. You need to get your startup going. And this relates back to where the life cycle is your product, and whether you are pre or post revenue. This won't apply to absolutely everybody, but there are some easy things to know when it comes to raising with inside a recession. Discount hard, right? There are investors out there with money to deploy at this moment in time. If you look on the blogs online, there is 2 or 3 different VCs saying, look, we're happy to deploy right now. It's the best time ever. Our investors are looking for a deal. So if you're doing a round with a convertible note, and perhaps that convertible note was at a 10% discount, you want to put that discount higher. If you were doing a round and your valuation was at 10 million, perhaps you want to consider your valuation going down to 8 million or even 7 million. The global market is down by 30% as of today. In fact, it's probably down a little bit further than that. Before I didn't get a check before I started talking. So that's got to be related in all of your startup prices and all of your valuations. And not only that, investors are savvy people. They're going to be noticing that. They're going to be realizing that. And you've got to be hard. This is the time when you have to go to those investors or those early conversations that you have and say, hey, you're interested in this. You're either in or out. and you work hard, you close them down right now because you need that capital and you need to go forward. On top of that, you have to cut costs. Now, this might sound like an obvious one, but do you really, really, really need that new office manager? Because that few $100s or few $1,000s is going to cost you every month. Like, it's going to be an absolute necessity to have those few $100s soon. Those hard conversations have to be had right now. If not right now, a few weeks ago. It was, truly imperative to cut as many costs as quickly as you can. And then on top of that, double down on revenue generation. If you are pre-revenue right now, how quickly can you get to post-revenue? How quickly can you start getting those early clients in? Spending patterns that are going to be changing right now, and discount hard in order to close against your competitors. So is Pynk a success story? Well, sure, yeah, we have raised money. Yes, we have an amazing team and we've got an amazing product. But what truly makes a success, in my eyes, is making sure that we are a survivalist first. And we're making sure, damn sure, that we're going to survive. And hopefully, we're going to become the next UK fintech unicorn. I mean, we're already growing faster than everybody else out there, but there's a long way to go. That's all I've got to say. I've got a few minutes left. I'm just going to turn off this off. I'm going to go back to the Hopper screen and turn off my screen sharing. And then hopefully in the questions here in the session, in the event, is there anybody who would like to ask any questions about me, my history, about Pynk? I'm just trying to look. So I'm actually pretty new at this. I'm not certain exactly where the questions come up. So this last 4 minutes may well be a little bit boring, but I can see that Alicia, you've told me it's 3 minutes to the end. I mean, that's great. I left on a few minutes for Q&As anyway. We got around 300 or so people online that are in the event right now. How has anybody found the Wool Summit online? Honestly, I found it, from my perspective, I found it a little bit difficult in terms of having this one-to-one connection. It could do with like a microphone or somebody, out in the audience. That one of the nice things about how these events are changing right now is actually that we're still getting on with them. We're still having the events, which is great, but the relationship, the connection is so disjointed. Like from a presenting point of view, being able to hear what people are asking and what the questions are coming through is really quite tricky. Let's have a look. Has anybody come through on the chat? Thank you, Victoria, to engage. You guys are doing a great job at Wool Summit, by the way. Really appreciate all the hard work you've put in over the past couple of weeks to pull this off and turn it around. It's nothing short of a miracle. Well done. And hopefully we'll go on to be doing some bigger and better things with these formats as well. Well, we've got 1 minute until the end of this session, and as nobody wanted to ask any questions, if you want to get hold of Pynk, head over to pynk.io, and please feel free to ask any questions through the website there, through the community. Join us and let me know if you have any feedback on this presentation, or if there's anybody we can help at all. Please do reach out in these really tough times. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll speak to you hopefully in the future. Cheers.